Are you finding it hard to know if you're healing and it's stopping you feeling motivated? Here's 5 signs that you're actually healing chronic illness. I think some of these are going to surprise you. Stay until the end because I'm going to be sharing with you the things that kept me motivated when I felt that nothing was happening. So the first sign that you're actually healing chronic illness is you're starting to think about things other than your health. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But if you're starting to think of things outside of your health, then something has definitely shifted. Not only is this shift a sign that your symptoms aren't troubling you as much, even though the shift in the symptoms might have been very subtle, but what it means is that you've actually started to look at your symptoms in a different way. You're starting to experience them differently, which means that you can then put your attention to other things. And the great thing is, the minute that that shift happens, we're actually spending more time in rest and repair, and we're out of that symptom fear cycle. So you might be starting a hobby or spending more time with other people, and these are all really good signs. And hobbies are amazing because they're great distractions from symptoms, which enables us to spend more time in rest and repair. And the hobby that came in for me as I was healing was fostering guinea pigs. Recently adopted 2 male guinea pigs, Mouse and Basil. Aren't they cute? What do you think? But seriously, we can miss the improvements because they're subtle and they build up over time. But an opening up to something outside yourself is a really great sign. You're starting to think with more clarity. Brain fog can be a sign of heightened stress, and one of the first signs I always look out for in clients is a reported improvement in mental clarity. And so any change in this, any lifting of brain fog, is a clear sign that you are spending more time in that restorative healing state in terms of your nervous system, and that is amazing. If you feel like you've tried everything to heal and nothing's working, check out my free training. It's going to take you through 5 shifts that you need to make in order to break free from chronic illness. I've put the link in the pinned comment. So one of the first things that goes when you're starting to experience a chronic illness is sleep. It can either be because pain keeps us awake or our hormones are out of balance. Even the smallest improvement in your sleep, even 15 minutes extra sleep a night, is a sign that healing is underway. Concerns about the quality of my sleep were a really big thing for me in my recovery. And so when I started to think of any sleep that I got between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. as really beneficial, even if it was just 1 hour, things really started to change and I started to stop stressing about my sleep. So if I only managed 30 minutes, I'd think how great that 30 minutes would be for my body. The next sign that healing's underway is that you feel calmer and happier than you did before. The mind and body work together in bidirectional ways. So if you're starting to feel calmer and happier, that tells me that you're able to spend more time in those higher vibration emotions. And those higher vibration emotions are directly linked to the state that your nervous system is in. And polyvagal theory calls this state ventral vagal, and it's that state that can promote healing in the body. So if you're spending more time in this state, your body is better enabled to repair work, so you are healing. So my group program, Power to Heal, really is about lifting people's emotional vibrations so that they can spend more time in that ventral vagal state. I've got another group kicking off in May. If you're interested in joining us, I've put the link in the description. So the next sign that you're healing chronic illness is that protocols become easier to follow. And this is the first sign that I got that things were changing for me. The fact that the protocols were becoming easier to follow was a sign that my energy was improving. And if you're dealing with fatigue, the return of energy can be very subtle at times. And I felt exhausted most of the time, but it was when I was making my celery juice one morning and just the juicing and the cleaning up felt a little bit easier that I noticed that something had changed. And we often hear people's healing stories and it can seem, I mean, there are some people it's miraculous. It might be 10 weeks they completely healed. But for many of us, it can be slow. We can hit plateaus. So it can really seem sometimes like nothing's happening. I'd encourage you to look for those really subtle changes. They're all around you. So let's get on to the things that kept me motivated when I didn't feel like anything was happening in my recovery. The first one was really seeing success in even the slightest change. So really focusing on the small changes really kept me motivated rather than being disappointed all the time. So we're talking about that extra 15 minutes of sleep, feeling calmer. I focused on those things rather than concerning myself too much about what wasn't happening. And also realizing that a symptom that might have been around for a long time could take a little bit longer to heal than something that had just arrived on the scene. So that stopped me becoming downhearted when things like the IBS, which was really uncomfortable and painful, was still there when my skin wasn't as dry and my orange feet had disappeared. I still had my feet, but they weren't orange anymore. I made a point during the times when things weren't happening to see just even stabilization of the symptoms as a good sign, because I'd been in a situation where over the years things had progressively got worse. Whenever I got setbacks, I would think back of the times when things had improved, and I'd hold on to that, because if things had improved then they could improve again. And rather than being downhearted or sad that I was in a setback, I knew that things were going to get better. Before I started to change how I defined success in my recovery, I really had to hit rock bottom. And in this video, I take you through hitting rock bottom, but also coming out of it. You might want to watch that next.